Good morning, welcome back to my channel, High Tunnel and Field Tomato Production. My name's Tony Montgomery. The day is April the 25th. And I got a couple things I want to show you. We're in the greenhouse, of course. And I started these tomatoes, I believe it was March the 29th. Germination was incomplete, so I was hoping to be able to show you start to finish in 30 days how to have a field ready tomato, but that's not working. We're going to be a week or so late. And so, but here's what I want to show you. These were put in a pot a week ago, yesterday, which was Saturday. So on April the 17th, I went from my flat into the 4-inch pots right here. And here is what I want to show you. Look really closely right there. Can you see the roots on those? The roots are already starting to, there's one dangling down. The roots are already starting to fill this pot. Now if you had a, let's say an 1.5 by 2-inch little cell, and I mean some of them are 48 to the flat. I don't know how many, because I don't use them anymore. But you would already have those things full, and you'd already be restricting the growth of your tomato. And so you've got to admit these are pretty decent. They've had one dose, probably 2 ounces a piece of 9, 45, 18, I believe it is. Mixed it in a gallon of water, 1 tablespoon to a gallon of water, 1 tablespoon of magnesium sulfate. And then I just got a little pitcher and I eyeball them, and so they get about 2 ounces a piece. Now that's all they've had. What you really want to be careful for with greenhouse tomatoes is giving them too much nitrogen. They'll get too leggy. Now in here on this half over here, I've got a shade cloth, 47% shade cloth. I don't have anything on this side. This is facing west and this is facing east. And so I just want to try to knock some of the heat out of here. This thing gets awfully hot, and I am fixing to install some better window ventilation. I've got a fan up here on this end right here, and then some vents over here, and my door, I can, a lot of times I will crack it open and use some straps and just let in as much air as I can just to try to keep the heat down, because this thing is very efficient on getting hot. So, but what I want to talk to you about too is I was up at Wally World, Walmart, and they've got a pot very similar to this, about 4 inches, and this is about 3.5, almost 4 inches deep, and they wanted $3.47 for it. Now, I remember back in the days when you could get a 6-pack for like $1.29, and of course they were small plants. But now they've gone big. I was down towards the Little Rock, Arkansas area yesterday and noticed they had some, they might have been half-gallon plants, and they wanted $7. But they didn't look real healthy, excuse me. Now, what they do on theirs, and I can't prove this yet, but I will soon, is they use a growth regulator. Those things will be dark green, and the distance between the leaf nodes, will be very, very short, which is good. If you give too much nitrogen, these plants are going to get too leggy. And then you've got to bury them deeper, and just makes for a weak plant. And I just don't like to do that. I like to try to, these have got decent color for their size. Now, I'm hoping to put these out, say in 10 days, around May the 5th is when I'm hoping to set these out. Next week I'll be in the high tunnels. I'll be filming a couple of short videos. I'm going to till the soil and get ready to make the rows, get everything ready. One of the things that was really odd this year, on here just a few days ago, I believe it was the 23rd of April, we had 25 degrees here on my farm. You can hear my fan kicking in. Let me turn it off. That way you can hear the video just a little bit better. We had 25 degrees here on my farm. I've got 3.5 acres of blueberries. It did a lot of damage. They were in the flowering stage. Some of them had already set fruit, did a lot of damage. And I won't know for a while exactly what we're going to get out of them this year, but that's just in the south and other areas. I mean, we've seen it frost in Florida and kill crops, and it just happens. That's just part of being a farmer. You got to be a little bit tough. And that's one of the reasons this year I'm really glad I didn't put my tomatoes out early. Some years in my tunnel I would have already had the tomatoes out for at least a week and maybe longer. The ground is just too cold. And the cold ground hurts the roots on these tomatoes. What you got to realize is that a tomato only roots about 18 inches deep. The major part of the roots, I'd say 75% of the roots are in the top 8 inches of the soil. That's your feeder roots. And so when that soil gets cold, it damages the plants. I don't understand the science behind it, but I know from experience what happens is I don't have especially as good flavor. Yeah, I can raise them. I can get them up, I can get production, but they just don't taste as good. So that's why we waited last year, had the best tomatoes we ever had. And I believe it was about May the 5th last year when I planted. So that'll just give you some idea of what we're doing this year. But the plants are growing out nice. I've got about 160 per tunnel. My tunnel is 30 by 84. I run 5 rows. I run double irrigation on both sides of the plant, and I'll put about 33 to the row because what I'm going to do is, you'll see I use a tractor and a small bed shaper and plastic layer. So at the end of my tunnel I have to back up and get my tractor out of there so I don't completely fill the tunnel up, but it's what works best for me. So okay, that's about all I want to do for the day, just giving you a little update on what's going on. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what we're doing, subscribe to it, hit the like button, make a comment, let us know what you're doing. As I said at the beginning of my videos, I'm taking you on a journey, a documentary, from the beginning to the end of our harvest, and we're showing you all the little tricks of the trade that I've had to learn. One thing I can tell you from doing a little research from the Georgia University is I've not been giving my tomatoes quite enough fertilizer. And I know from other crops, I hate to over fertilize anything, but you got to give them as much as they want. And so I'm going to give you some formulas on that just a little bit later. Let me show you one more thing this morning. Here is a flat. There's 100 tomatoes on these. Now I'm going to have a few late tomatoes. These will go out in my field, not in the tunnel, but out in the field itself. These are ready to transplant in the pots. Get you a little bit better view right there. There you go. And so this is Sunday. I'm going to go to church, then I'm going to come back home, and then I'll probably start transplanting these into more pots. So thank you again for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you next time.